Pierre Poilievre actually lost his own goddamn riding by a pretty decent chunk too. Didn't he lose it by like 4 points? It wasn't by like 5 votes. So basically they're putting him in the wood chipper. Like they are sending him upstate. His ass is done. He is not leading the conservatives anymore. He's done. Hasn't he like never worked a real job? Hey, anyone running the trucking routes around there, keep an eye out at your local Tim Hortons drive-thru, okay? You might see a familiar face looking back at you on the other side of the payment window. He's been a politician since he was like 20. That's funny. He's only passed 2 bills in his entire 19-year career in politics. Wow! In Canada, you guys get to pass 2 bills in 2 decades? Boy! Mom, why does Canada get to have 2 bills in a 20-year period? Yeah, his ass is done. They are straight up feeding him to the hogs. It's gotta be Doug Ford now, right? Doug Ford has to be. He's like the only conservative leader left with any power and legitimacy. Isn't Doug Ford a literal crackhead? Isn't that good? Isn't one of the fascist signifiers that you get really obsessed with like black people doing crack in the subway? If you yourself do crack, isn't that good? That's his brother? Well, I think that's good. And I think you're all fascist, by the way. Mark Carney getting down after his win. Yeah! Hit it! Hit it, white boy. This is how you know, by the way, that he is a PhD economist and not an actual politician. No actual politician would dance like this because they'd be afraid of embarrassing themselves. An economist would absolutely dance like this because they either don't care or aren't socially aware enough, which is based. This is what I mean when I say like living your cringe, okay? To live is to cringe. Don't kill yourself. Kill the part of you that cringes at yourself. Also, I think it's kind of nice that he's obviously very happy that he won, and this doesn't come across as like a house of cards, like, yes, one more step enacted in my master strategy to become a sociopath billionaire, which seems to be the path that like every American politician takes for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, hell, he's acting like a human. That's nice. No, genuinely? No, I mean it. That shit is like really important to me at this point. In an era where every politician is like literally a demon. Like even a lot of Democrats here in America are like demon people. Like they're not like us, man. It is nice to see someone acting human. But yeah, he won. It is still possible, albeit not really super likely, that the Liberals actually get a majority. There are still 31 seats, 31 ridings that have yet to be called, and the Liberals are 18 seats away. Wait, right? Yeah, 18 seats away from hitting the midpoint. They're probably not going to get a majority, though it is not impossible. So we'll see. CBC says Trump knows what he's done, but does he really? Sane washing. Trump has no idea what he's doing at any point in time. He has genuinely no clue. If anyone whose political analysis includes the sentiment that Donald Trump has a plan is just wrong and you shouldn't listen to them. I'm not joking. I'm not like doing a bit. He is genuinely a floating piece of driftwood awash in a river. Okay, he has mastered the Buddhist arts. You couldn't even begin to, you're still thinking, you know, what am I going to do tomorrow? Trump doesn't think that. Man plans and God laughs. What am I doing tomorrow? What's my plan tomorrow? What's the big game plan? Bro, the river takes you where it takes you. We'll watch the victory speech. Let us have this.
That is Nepean. That is the spirit of Nepean behind me right there. Thank you. Bonsoir tout le monde. Bonsoir. Oh, quel bonsoir. C'est un bon bonsoir. I have a question. Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready to stand up for Canada with me?
This is Aura. Holy shit. Did Bruce Fanjoy just I'd win Pierre Poilievre? January 27th, 2024. Or sorry, January 27th, 2024. I'm very tired. You can't defeat Pierre. Watch me. Nah, I'd win. Damn. You better do something with that seat you won, okay? It can't all be hype moments in Aura.
And who's ready? Who's ready to build Canada strong? Okay, we got that settled. That's good. Avant de commencer, je voudrais féliciter les autres chefs de parti.
I'm sorry for the French. There's nothing I can do.
et de tout le travail qu'ils ont fait. Je les remercie pour leur service envers le Canada, maintenant et dans le futur. I want to thank the leaders of the other parties. I want to salute the contribution of Jagmeet Singh. I noticed his remarks. Yeah. Leading on progressive values.
That's nice. I think that's nice. A lot of people are upset the NDP, the Progressive Party in Canada, basically collapsed. Having read a lot of it online and read people's reactions, the impression that I'm getting from it is that the party kind of deserved to die because it's been useless for the past decade, and Jagmeet Singh, while being like a fine person, isn't a great politician. But there are a lot of good NDP politicians, good MPs, who lost who didn't really deserve to lose. Like, because the NDP did poorly, a lot of their MPs did poorly, and a lot of those NDP MPs were good people. People who could easily rival Bernie or AOC in their political fervor and their politics, and they lost because the NDP did a poor job presenting itself, you know? So that's unfortunate.
Elizabeth May will be returning to Parliament. Yves-François Blanchet. And I want to congratulate Pierre Poilievre on a hard-fought, fair, good campaign, his commitment to the country that we both love.
Yeah.
They all have many, many more contributions to our land. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Diana, for your work on this campaign. Thank you, Diana, for the commitment and compassion you bring to everything that you do. Tonight simply would not have been possible without you and without the support of our 4 children who inspire me to service every single day. I also want to salute the women and men who put their name on the ballot from all parties. Thank you for standing up to serve our country at this critical time.
Dan, that's a funny coincidence. I have an email in my inbox. Reminder, why you need to read my new book. And it's to Mark Carney, BCC me. I'm in an email list from this guy, which I assume includes every human on Earth. I wonder if Mark Carney read this email.
And for those who were elected, particularly those liberals who were elected, I am looking forward to working
1,000-year Reich of liberalism. Yes.
This says, Bruce. And Bruce, yes, Bruce Vanjoy. I'm looking forward to working with Bruce Vanjoy.
It's because after USA got shut down, you knew backers the Canadian government. Do you realize that there are actually people online who have been speaking as though my channel is gone because I no longer receive USA funding? Like, I thought it was a meme, but there are people, I've legitimately seen people reacting online like, wait, didn't his channel go down because USA got cut? I think some of them are joking, but I think some of it's real. How can they believe that? I don't know. It's crazy. I think at one point I made a joke about it, that a Nazi account clipped and it went viral, but it was like so obviously a joke. I have no idea.
Fantastic. He will be a great MP. We're going to have fun tonight. Yes, we're going to have fun. Bien sûr, je tiens à remercier les milliers de bénévoles ici ce soir et à travers le pays qui ont donné de leur temps pour cogner au port, pour faire des appels, pour échanger avec leurs voisins et les membres de leur communauté, pour nous donner un gouvernement fort. C'est ça.
You know that's right.
You know, I chose to enter politics because I felt we needed big changes in this country. But big changes guided by strong Canadian values. Values that I learned at the dinner table from my parents, Bob and Verley, and from my siblings. I appreciate this more in retrospect, from my siblings. My siblings, Brenda, Sean, and Brian. Values that I learned on the ice from my coaches. Values that have been reinforced as I've met with Canadians across this great country. And those include 3...
French language? Nah, politicians have to talk like this. Also, I think they should. I wish lefties talked more like this. It really does suck that American values as a concept has been ceded to the American right when the American right hates American values. Like, literally. Like, the defining wave, the defining features of American values on the international stage have been, like, internationalism, liberalism, multiculturalism, immigration, like liberating the world during World War II. We became a superpower because we took the Allies' side of World War II. Like everything we are was built. And I'm not saying that we're like a good country if you like stack the deck, you know, oh, let's take a look at all the massacres we committed or anything. I'm just saying, if you want to make a story, people vote for a good story, right? And if you want to thread together a narrative about America, I trust people trying to thread together like a good narrative from America, like a morally virtuous one, than one the conservatives do, where they're like faking love for America by saying like, well, Christopher Columbus was based, you know? Actually, this like Italian man working for the Spanish or whatever was super duper based when he like killed and raped a bunch of like indigenous children because it was like red pill or something. Yeah, that's like super critical to American virtue that you celebrate this 400-year dead white pedophile from a different country. You know, like what the fuck? Like it's not real patriotism or whatever. It's insane shit, you know? Lefties in the USA need to study how Eugene Debs crafted his platform and narrative about socialism in America. I agree. No, genuinely, I agree. Yeah, you can be critical of the American experiment, but still do this like, listen, you know? When I grew up, there were American values that I considered important, you know? Like, just Indiana Jones shit, literally. Not to play into stereotype, but like unironically, the whole fashion arc stuff has actually made me appreciate Americana a lot more because there is a lot of cool like cultural contribution. Nowadays, when we think of American culture like being sort of internationalized, we kind of think of like, you know, Hollywood or like hip hop culture, right? Like black culture, you know, and it's true, they do a lot, but it extends way beyond that. And I think that if you have an appreciation for Americana beyond like the conservative virtue signal, which mostly just seems to be a cover for liking racism and pedophilia, I don't know. I like there's something positive there. And I think you could cook up a good set of ideals over that.
Values that I want to highlight this evening. Humility. It's Canada after all. Ambition. It's Canada after all. And unity. It's Canada. Woo! I love you. Right back. Right back. These are good values. These are Canadian values. Values that I will do my best. I'm just getting worked up here. These are values that I will do my best to uphold every day as your Prime Minister. You betcha.
They're dude, these people are like belligerent. They're drunk.
Section because I am going to begin. I am going to begin with the value of humility. And by admitting that I have much to be humble about. It's true. Over my long, that's not an applause line, it's just a statement of fact. Over my long career, I have made many mistakes, and I will make more. But I commit to admitting them openly, to correcting them quickly, and always learning from them. You know, humility underscores the importance of governing as a team in cabinet and in caucus, and working constructively with all parties across Parliament, of working in partnership with the provinces and the territories, and with Indigenous peoples. And at this time, it underscores the value of bringing together labor, business, civil society to advance the nation-building investments we need to transform our economy.
He's got maxed out charisma. I don't even think he's that charismatic. I just think that like in an era where every politician is an inhuman freak, even a little bit of sincerity goes a long way. Seriously, like think about like every politician that we deal with in the Western world, basically, from Kamala to Biden to Trump, Pierre Poilievre, right? Macron, you know, Keir Starmer. Why am I blanking on the previous Prime Minister of Canada? Come on, this is Justin Trudeau. Just so many politicians are these grinning psychopaths in suits who are like nominally charismatic, but they just repeat what consultants tell them to say. Mark Carney just comes across like an authentic guy. I worry that I'm going to have to eat my words if he turns out to be just as evil as the rest of them, but I really do think there's reason to believe going into this that he is just not governed by the same kind of like class war sociopathy that so many of these other people are. He's still a liberal, right? But there is a difference.
Humility is also about recognizing that one of the responsibilities of government is to prepare for the worst, not hope for the best. As I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never.
Kill us.
But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen. But we,
Yeah, declare jihad.
but we also must recognize the reality that our world has fundamentally changed. There is also, for me, as I stand before you this evening, humility in recognizing that, well, many have chosen to place your trust in me, trust in the Liberal Party. Millions of our fellow citizens preferred a different outcome. And my message to every Canadian is this: no matter where you live, no matter what language you speak, no matter how you voted, I will always do my best to represent everyone who calls Canada home.
Yeah, my message to all of you who voted for Pierre: we will find you.
You know,
I have
during
your
this short
address. I'm the Prime Minister.
During this short campaign, I went to Saskatchewan and Alberta a couple of times. Even though, you know, we're Liberals, it's tough. It's tough out there. I grew up there. But I went because I intend to govern for all Canadians. And au cours de cette campagne, plusieurs Québécois et Québécoises m'ont ouvert leurs portes, m'ont accordé leur confiance.
Am I incorrect in saying that he seems to have a pretty good French accent? I find him less unpleasant to listen to than when Justin Trudeau was speaking French, though that might be because he has a thicker accent of English, which is why it sounds better to me. No, it's pretty mediocre. Okay, then I guess that's the reason why then. To my ear, this sounds better because it's an Anglified French. His French has improved a lot throughout the campaign. That's nice. Shows that he's been putting effort in. It's pretty difficult to learn a new language at that age, you know? The linguistic, you know, centers of your brain kind of put their feet up a little bit after you're like 12 or something. So, you know. Carney famously is bad at French, so that's why lol. Hey, I mean, you know, you put the effort in, right? I don't think French is a uniquely ugly language. I don't like the Québécois accent, but nobody does, so I'm not unique in saying that. I've heard French people speak in French, and I think that they tend to sound pretty okay. I don't like Italian at all. I do like some German accents quite a bit. I think there are some German dialects that sound very pleasant to me. French, it varies. Italian, I just don't like. Spanish? You know, it really depends. I think the problem for me is that I don't really think of there being a Spanish because I've grown up around so many Spanish-speaking people that I just think of like hundreds of people that I've known. Does that make sense? I've only known a few people in person who spoke French. So for me, I have like an archetypal accent in my head that I can defer to when I'm thinking of like whether or not I like it. When it comes to Spanish, it's like, damn, well, I know like so many people who are from Mexico or whose parents are from Mexico, and then I've been to Spain. I've just heard a lot. Thoughts on any Slavic language? I haven't really heard. I can't audibly distinguish Ukrainian from Russian, if that's what you mean. I'm afraid I can't. I can. The Cyrillic looks a little different when I look at it, if like you point to it and show me, but I can't audibly distinguish between the two. Also, Russia is such a big country. Russia is such a big country. Like, there's got to be a billion Russian dialects, right? A lot of people like Arabic. What about you? I knew a lot of people who spoke Farsi growing up, which isn't Arabic, but that's like the Middle Eastern language that I'm most used to hearing, Hebrew and Farsi. It's a very harsh language. Both of those are very harsh languages. I don't know what it is about like the Middle East and their love of the like that. I don't know. Do they have that in Farsi, or was it just I was listening to Hebrew-speaking Jews who also spoke Farsi, so they did that in Farsi in addition to in Hebrew? Because Hebrew has the ch. Does Farsi also have the ch? Like that? They both have the KH sound? Okay. I just didn't know if like they were saying that in Farsi because they were used to speaking in Hebrew. Okay. Because that hurts my mouth to make that noise. It makes me feel like I'm congested, so I don't know. Wow, most English speakers don't know how to make that sound. Good job. I literally, like, Beverly Hills is like 50% Persian Jews, so heard it all the time. Also, I went to so many like bar mitzvahs and stuff, you know? You've got the like reading in front of you.
Je suis profondément touché et je vous en remercie. La langue française. La langue française, la culture québécoise, elles sont au cœur de l'identité canadienne.
You're invited to the shawarma cookout? Thank God.
Elles définissent le pays que j'aime tant. Et je vais les défendre sans relâche. Avec la forte équipe de députés québécois.
I feel like a real Cajun French accent might break Vosh. Actually, I did know one person who spoke, I think, Cajun French. He was a waiter at a Cajun restaurant in Los Angeles that I went to. I heard him speak a couple of times, and I thought his accent was beautiful. You know what it sounded like to me? And I don't know if this is like a bad stereotype. He straight up sounded like he was having fun with it. That shit was, he was bouncing on that language and moaning on it. Like, that sounded like it was a goddamn party going on in his mouth whenever he was talking. I don't know if that was just him. I've only heard one person speak like that, but it was pretty crazy.
Que vous venez d'envoyer à Ottawa. Nous allons faire en sorte que le Québec continue de prospérer au sein de Canada fort.
That's true.
Et que vous soyez un travailleur des sables bitumineux à Fort Mac, une infirmière de Joliette ou un comptable de Toronto. Il y a plusieurs comptables à Toronto. Mon gouvernement va travailler pour vous tous. So, as we come here after this consequential, most consequential election, let's put an end to the division and anger of the past. We are all Canadian, and my government will work for and with everyone.
This makes sense rhetorically, because if you think about the reason why Mark Carney won here, he did not win in an upset against the Conservatives. He won as a wedge against Trump, right? So the narrative from him has to be United Canada against Trump. That makes the most sense. I would do the same in his position. You know, it's not even like a liberalism thing. Even if a socialist won, I think that it would be smart for, rather than for them to do the like, you know, and the conservatives will pay for trying to sell our country out to for Trump or whatever. Like, it makes more sense to like kind of form a unified front here. In America, the case is different because we don't really have any foreign adversaries the way that Canada does. So we could just, you know, we could be more partisan internally, but.
I began with humility, but Canadians are ambitious. And now, more than ever, it is a time for...
So many NDP championship. Dude, okay, so it looks like he's going to be a couple seats off from the majority. If he... How many cabinet seats does the PM have? Couldn't he invite members from the NDP over to his cabinet in a sign of good faith, triggering additional elections in those seats, but in the meantime, he would have a majority? Like, if he... Not really? Oh, right, because it's about who has the most seats, not who has the majority. Like, okay, never mind. Wait, wait. Hold on. So if he's four seats off, let's just say he's 4 seats off. No cabinet members or members of parliament. Is that true? It doesn't remove their status as a member of parliament. You're still officially both an MP and a member of parliament? Yes? Huh. Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting. It seems like that'd be a full-time job, but I guess in America it works a little differently. Okay. NDP MPs could theoretically cross the floor and join with liberals. I wonder if they will, in like a united front. You know? Yeah, that's usually how parliaments work. Okay, no, I'm paying very close attention to this election. I have been for months. I'm happy to learn more.
It is a time to be bold, to meet this crisis with overwhelming positive force of a united Canada, because we are going to build, baby, build.
I like that.
Exactly.
I like that.
Throughout, not for, well, no, we're building now. We've gotten over that bit. Throughout our history, there have been turning points. Throughout our history, there have been turning points when the world's fortunes were in the balance. That was the case at the start of the Second World War, just as it was at the end of the Cold War. And each time, Canada chose to step up, to assert ourselves as a free, sovereign, and ambitious nation, to lead the path of democracy and freedom, and, because we are Canadian, to do so with compassion and generosity. We are once again at one of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality. We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take us forward.
We have.
Dude, they are like really amped up here. This party was like all of these members of the Liberal Party, they were like consigned to defeat like 6 months ago. It was over for them. And in literally like in a third of a year, they went from to no chance at all to winning, like by a decisive margin. Like they're amped. American liberals can never. Oh no, Democrat. This kind of energy would never, because no Democrats believe in anything. Well, not no, but like a lot of them don't. Certainly not their leadership.
To look out for ourselves, and above all, we have to take care of each other.
Yeah.
When I sit down with President Trump, it will be to discuss the future economic and security relationship between two sovereign nations. And it will be with our full knowledge that we have many, many other options than the United States to build prosperity for all Canadians. Nous allons renforcer nos relations avec des partenaires fiables en Europe, en Asie et ailleurs. Et si les États-Unis ne veulent plus jouer un rôle de premier plan dans l'économie mondiale, le Canada leur fera. We will lead, not the Americans. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. Nous allons bâtir des millions de logements, une superpuissance énergétique, de bonnes carrières dans les emplois spécialisés et une seule économie canadienne par 13. We will chart a new path forward because this is Canada and we decide what happens here. We will need to think big and act bigger.
I don't know what this means.
Your phone's ringing. Sorry, just all right. Just hang on. It's okay. Yeah. It might be important. We will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations. It's time to build twice as many homes every year with an...
That was a Sonograd? Oh my god, really? I'm so sorry. I apologize to all of my viewers. I didn't know.
Entirely new housing industry using Canadian technology, Canadian skilled workers, Canadian lumber. It's time to build new trade and energy corridors, working in partnership with the provinces, territories, and Indigenous peoples. It's time to build hundreds of thousands of not just good jobs, but good careers in the skilled trades. It's time to build Canada into an energy superpower in both clean and conventional energy. And it's time to build an industrial strategy that makes Canada more competitive while fighting climate change. We will build one Canadian economy, not 13, with a government committed to free trade in Canada by Canada Day. The point is that we can give ourselves far more than the Americans can ever take away.
It's weird to hear rhetoric like this and for it to be on the right side of history, right? Because normally we follow elections in Western democracies, and normally Western democracies are untouchable, right? Countries like France, Italy, England, America, Canada, for the most part, we have literally nothing to fear. We're on top of the world. Everything is built to our benefit, at least on a national level, not really for like every citizen in the nation. So congrats to Trump, I guess, for overturning the world order. Like now we have we have an excuse now for oppositional defiant rhetoric to be justifiably exercised by a member of what used to be the Imperial Core. But now the Imperial Core, I guess, is like Washington, D.C., Israel, and Kremlin. That's it. So, I don't know.
But even given that, I want to be clear. The coming days and months will be challenging, and they will call for some sacrifices. But we will share those sacrifices by supporting our workers and our businesses. Les défis devant nous sont intimidants, et c'est normal. Les grands changements, comme ceux que nous vivons, sont toujours inquiétants. Nous avons beaucoup de chemin à faire.
What he said is also factually true, by the way. GDP losses from interprovincial trade barriers are higher than the share of trade with the US. Yeah, genuinely, the interprovincial trade barriers have to come down. When I found out about those in Canada, that was like absolutely insane to me. Like the idea, the federal government of America did so much to keep the states in line when we expanded westward to make sure that the states got along and didn't all turn into a bunch of warring countries. We failed once, obviously, Civil War. But apart from that, you know, it's been going okay. One of the big pillars of that relationship has been the fact that you can trade freely across state borders. The fact that you can't between provinces, absolutely insane. Genuinely, like that's insane. Like that is such an objectively irrational decision, economically speaking. It's insane to me. I'm assuming this is like Quebec's fault because they're so nationalist. But like, yeah, that needs to stop like now. It's just irrational. There's no benefit. I mean, interstate commerce is baked into our constitution. Yeah, it's a good thing. Like, for the same reason that tariffs are almost always a bad idea. Like, you don't want trade barriers between states. You're in the same damn country. That's some city-state shit. Yeah, I didn't realize that Canada was like the Holy Roman Empire, but much larger and with fewer constituencies.
Mais j'ai confiance. J'ai confiance en vous. J'ai confiance au Canada. Because Canada is more than a nation. We are and we always will be a confederation. A sacred set of ideas and ideals built on practical foundations. That we know we're not always perfect, but we always strive to be good. We do things because they're right, not because they're easy. That we see kindness as a virtue, not as a weakness. Most importantly, we know that our strength lies in our resolve to work together as a country. It relies on our unity. You know, on the second day of this campaign, I went to Gander, where on 9/11, they welcomed thousands of passengers into their homes without question or hesitation. I sat down with two of the many heroes of the time, Diane Davis and Beulah Cooper. And during our conversation, they showed me a thank you card that they'd received from a young girl called Ellie.
What's the difference between a confederacy and a union? They're not mutually exclusive terms. The United States of America and Canada are both technically unions and confederacies because they're a confederacy of provinces and states and also a union of provinces and states. They're just synonyms, more or less. They're not strictly defined political terms. Basically, when the Confederacy called itself the Confederacy and the Union, they were aura hype farming. They were lore walking at each other. It's like how in the Destiny games, everyone is called like the something, right? It's like the hunger or the plague or the flood. I don't know. I don't play those games, but it's like that basically. Like they chose different corners of the room and came up with the cool OC names they wanted to battle with, you know?
Who wrote, "Your kindness motivates me to use my kindness." That touching phrase captures what Canadians
What's the
instinctively...
difference between a confederation and a federation? One of the biggest level ups that you get in understanding politics is that the definitions that we use are incredibly shaky, intersubjectively defined, and usually just meant to like determine agreed upon meaning. A good example, by the way, would be the fact that federalism, like definitionally, refers to a degree of autonomy, of disconnected parts of a government that are unified by a whole, as opposed to total unitary control. But federalists were considered the people who wanted unitary control because they were the alternative to people who wanted every state to basically be like an agrarian city-state. You know? They're their relative terms. Basically what I'm saying is that nothing means anything. I'm Pickle Rick, bitch.
know that virtue is like a muscle that grows with its exercise. We become just by doing just acts, brave by doing brave acts. When we are kind, kindness grows. When we seek unity, unity grows. When we are Canadian, Canada grows. And united over our history, we have done hard, seemingly impossible things. United, we have built one nation in harsh conditions.
No, they are not, and yes, they are. Federations hold more power in the central government, where confederations hold more power in the constituent pieces. Yeah, you're describing the, like, arbitrary difference between the two, because there's no objective line that sets the difference between one or another. Hey, at what line exactly does a democracy become authoritarian? Puzzle that one out for the next, I don't know, let's say, judging by the fact that you typed in all caps, 75 years of your life, adjusted for, like, the average actuarial table. Sorry, 73. Your generation's probably not going to live as long as mine, because you guys have more microplastics in your balls, weighing you down. Basically what I'm saying is never question me again. Also, donate to me. Also, subscribe and ring the bell to both of my channels. All three of my channels. That's VoshVidya on YouTube. YouTube.com/c/VoshVidya. That's where the game VODs go up when we put them up, which is never. You.
Despite a sometimes hostile neighbor. Yes, they have form on this, the Americans. United, we have confronted our own past with indigenous peoples. Unis, nous avons bâti un pays qui rassemble des langues, des cultures et des croyances différentes. Unis, nous avons bâti des institutions culturelles essentielles comme CBC Radio-Canada.
Yippee!
United, we have created universal public health care. And now, in the face of this crisis, united, we are buying Canadian. We are exploring everything this country has to offer. We are supporting our friends and neighbors in the crosshairs of President Trump through a crisis that we did not create. United, we will win this trade war and build the strongest economy in the G7, an economy that works for everyone.
I hope, man. I hope. You know? Again, like, overall, in the long run, I do root for the downfall of liberalism, but you gotta pick your battles, right? There are gonna be people who are upset about this victory from a left perspective, but, like, you gotta pick your battles. Also, I think that, like, and not to get too, like, misty-eyed about the origins of liberalism or whatever, but if you go back and read Adam Smith, the original liberals, the original economic liberals, the original laissez-faire capitalists were way more intelligent about what this ideology means than modern day neoliberals. Modern day neoliberals are, in a sort of like macroeconomic sense, children. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea at all. They're idiots. But you go and read Adam Smith, and Adam Smith's like, yeah, you know, so like potential downsides with the system. I don't know, land acquisition, monopoly holdings. I don't know, man. It could get pretty spicy. We better be careful about that. And then we didn't get careful about that. I'm hoping some competent, you know, liberal managerialism can maybe kind of pull the country in a slightly better direction. Might be a nice example. I don't know.
Au cours des derniers mois, les Canadiens et Canadiennes ont fait leur part, se sont rassemblés pour défendre notre pays et notre façon d'être. Je promets que, lorsque nous sommes menacés, nous allons nous battre. We will fight back with everything we have to get the best deal for Canada. We will protect our workers and businesses, and above all, we will build an independent future for our great country. A future that makes the greatest country on the earth even better. Together, we will build a Canada worthy of our values. We will build Canada strong, Canada free, Canada forever. Vive le Canada. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
1,000-year Canadian Reich, hell yeah. Yeah, somebody in chat said it, but I think a good way of putting it is that neoliberals take as a prior that capitalism is good and merely seek to maximize the end goals that capitalism sets for itself, i.e. line go up, GDP go up, shareholdings go up, stock economy go up, so on and so forth. Whereas liberals assume that capitalism is good for maximizing other values and work within that framework. So a liberal can look at the way capitalism is failing and go, okay, what adjustments can we make? Whereas a neoliberal would look at line going up and go, well, how can things be going bad? The line is going up. Even stuff like the housing crisis or like job shortages or whatever are only viewed in the context of whether or not it's going to affect the line going up. Is this guy not neoliberal? He might be. I think he has the opportunity to prove that he's not. My assumption by default is neoliberal until proven otherwise. However, some of the stuff that he's proposed suggests a comfort with government market intervention that is unbecoming of a neoliberal. My hope would, like, you know how Kamala Harris wanted to help people buy new homes via tax rebates? That's a neoliberal way of the government getting involved. Don't actually touch the market at all. Just, you know, fiddle with, like, marginal numbers, fiddle with tax benefits and tax incentives. That's the neoliberal way. If he gets more directly involved, maybe some Keynesian stuff, you know, a little more like deliberate government spending to stimulate the economy, a little more regulation, it's possible he hasn't exactly advocated for Keynes's past national bank rules. No, he hasn't. And that's why I'm a little hesitant. But again, I don't want to let the historical moment taint me with cynicism. I want to believe that he's an actual person who has actual beliefs. He is not as consultant-brained as American Democrats, and the Canadian political system is not as tainted by money as the American political system. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Could be either way. Could be either way. That's my hope. He pledged to run deficits for a few years to make needed improvements. Well, that's good. Has Pierre Poilievre made a comment about being cooked? I don't care what he has to say. He's a loser. His word means nothing to me.